Hello and welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. Mercedes-Benz now has access to Tesla's supercharging network in the United States, with Canada to follow later this year. Now, Mercedes-Benz has a pretty full electric vehicle lineup that will now have access to the Tesla Superchargers. We have the EQG, or what is known as the G580, the electric G-Wagon. We have the EQS SUV and sedan. We have the EQE SUV and sedan. Then we have the EQB, which is the smaller SUV that Mercedes offers. And then we also have the CLA EV coming later this year. So Mercedes-Benz has a full lineup that now gets access to 20,000 Tesla supercharging stalls across North America. Again, United States first, Canada later this year. This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in this episode's description. Now let's kind of jump into what Tesla's article says, right, where it finally adds Mercedes-Benz. This is alongside Ford, Rivian, General Motors, Volvo, Polestar, Nissan, and Lucid and Hyundai with their native NACS vehicles. The Lucid Gravity and the Hyundai Ioniq 5 now have native NACS, so they have access to Tesla's supercharging network. Even though on the website it doesn't say Hyundai is allowed, even though it says Lucid is allowed, even though the Air doesn't get it. Point is, Mercedes-Benz is the first automaker this year with their full lineup getting access to the Tesla supercharging network with adapters across their whole lineup. And let's just jump over to Mercedes-Benz, right, charging information here, their charging article, charging with NACS. And I gotta say, right, if you watched our last episode, I mentioned that I was in Apex, North Carolina for the Iona Rechargery grand opening. Of course, that charger's been open for a while, but with all of the automakers, they did a grand opening: Mercedes, BMW, GM, Toyota, Stellantis, Hyundai, Genesis, Kia. They were all there, BMW, to grand open this Iona Rechargery, take pictures, really talk about how significant this is. And I had a pretty lengthy conversation, meeting and networking with Mercedes-Benz charging officials. And even though through our very long conversations, no one told me yesterday that Mercedes-Benz got access to the Tesla supercharging network. Maybe it wasn't the time and place, but we had a conversation about all sorts of charging, and I feel kind of betrayed that no one ever mentioned it to me. But now Mercedes has access to Tesla's supercharging network. Of course, they have access to Electrify America. They have access to EVgo, but they have plug and charge with Iona, Electrify America, now Tesla. I think charging on a Mercedes is just like gotten better. I would argue and say that it's probably the best charging experience that you're going to have in terms of plug and charge, because there's plug and charge for so many of these CPO, these charge point operators. Now, reading the article, Charging with NACS, access NACS DC fast charging stations with a Mercedes-Benz fast charging adapter. Want to charge at a Tesla Supercharger? Soon you can. On February 4th, Mercedes-Benz EV drivers will get access to DC fast chargers that use the North American charging system, including over 20,000 Tesla Superchargers using a Mercedes-Benz fast charging adapter. There's no need to download any additional apps. Payment is streamlined through your Mercedes Me Charge account. Now, what's needed? Well, a Mercedes-Benz DC fast charging adapter. Charging your Mercedes-Benz EV at a Tesla Supercharger station requires a Mercedes-Benz DC fast charging adapter. This adapter connects the NACS charging cable to the charge port on all electric Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz EV customers will be notified in early 2025 when adapters are available to purchase through an authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Now, looking at this adapter here, this is, yes, you guessed it, this is the Electron Vortex adapter. I wonder why so many automakers are going with Electron on this one. We saw Ford originally was going with the Tesla regular adapter that Tesla originally provided, right? Rivian's going with the adapter that Rivian originally provided. Same thing with Nissan. Not too sure about Volvo, Polestar, but Hyundai, Genesis, Kia also are going with Electron adapter that's limited to 350 amps, which opens up a lot of other questions and possibilities and dangers and doors. We're going to have an episode on that very soon, so look out as well. But now Mercedes is also using the Electron adapter. Now, I am here to say that this adapter is 500 amps, 1000 volts, so it's not going to explode if you use it on another EV like the other adapter that Hyundai, Genesis, Kia are using that is limited to 350 amps. Again, episode on that pretty soon. But 500 amps, 1000 volts, you can use this for pretty much a slew of other EVs. And of course, Mercedes-Benz EVs, which I believe all of the Mercedes-Benz lineup, I don't think that any of them pass 350 amps. So they could hypothetically get a 350 amp adapter and be fine. Of course, you want more of a buffer, but with 500 amp adapter, now it could likely be used on other vehicles. But of course, Mercedes-Benz calls this the Mercedes-Benz fast charging adapter, passing it off as their own, even though we know they didn't make it. And as all of the other automakers, they want to make sure that you're using this adapter and you buy it from Mercedes. And this is something you're going to have to pay for. They're not giving out for free like some other automakers, but you're going to have to buy it. And for you to really stay within your warranty, you're likely going to have to use one used by Mercedes. Now, there really is no danger to using 90% of adapters out there. However, a lot of automakers fear, you're using the wrong adapter, something happens to charging, let's say bricks the vehicle, which really unlikely, but I'm just thinking hypotheticals here. Would they want to cover that? Because it's not the adapter they gave you. So really, they're just trying to cover their own butts. But yeah, this is the Electron Vortex adapter. Now, learn more about the Mercedes-Benz DC fast charging adapter. They'll have a video here, which I'll link here in the description, and then initiating a charge session. To get started, confirm in the Mercedes-Benz app that you have a Mercedes-Benz approved adapter. Tap charging status and settings when prompted. Toggle NACS adapter. Here they have a pretty much a GIF video here showing the Mercedes-Benz app where you can click that you have an adapter, and then it's going to open up more of the charging stations for your vehicle. And if you click that you don't have an adapter, it's going to not show those stations. But it's also here approving that you have an approved adapter. They've used the correct language here, trying to make sure that you're not using the not approved adapter, I have an approved adapter. More Mercedes trying to cover their own butt. But it's so funny seeing how all of these automakers are going when it comes, are moving when it comes to using third-party adapters and non-OEM approved adapters. It's interesting. Anyway, what is North American Charging Standard? The North America Charging System is a charging connector that enables access to DC fast charging systems like Tesla Supercharging network. In 2025, select Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle models will come equipped with the NACS charging port, and gradually all EVs will be designed to be compatible with this charging option. So yeah, as I mentioned, I actually mentioned this in our last NACS episode that it's going to be select Mercedes-Benz models, likely what we see across the lineup from the EQS vehicles, the EQE, the G580, electric G-Wagon, and like the CLA. I don't think we're going to see it on the EQB, but we'll see what Mercedes chooses. Maybe Mercedes says, we're putting NACS on the CLA and EQB, the cheaper Mercedes EVs, and they're giving CCS1 to the EQS and the electric G and the EQE. They're leaving those with CCS1, but we'll see. Now here again, we can see in the frequently answered questions, this adapter is rated for 500 amps, 1000 volts. Please read the user manual before use. Do not use the adapter for AC charging. Mercedes-Benz has extensively evaluated, tested the recommended adapter to ensure the safety of use and its compatibility with your vehicle. And yeah, that pretty much sums up this article here. We can see how do I locate supercharger stations. If you have a Mercedes-Benz fast charging adapter, click on charging status and settings in the Mercedes-Benz app, toggle on NACS adapter when prompted. Also make sure your Mercedes Me Charge service is active. Your vehicle will now display NACS equipped charging stations, including supercharger stations, and navigation with electric intelligence will automatically optimize your route to include charging station stops along the way. As I mentioned, I did the EQS on the I-90 Surge. The I-90 Surge, if you're not familiar, where we on Out of Spec, our team, we drove from Seattle to Boston on just Interstate 90 the entire way, just to see what EV performs best on long distance driving. And the Mercedes EQS fared pretty well. It was very close to second, third, and fourth place. The Model 3, the Ioniq 6, the Model S Plaid, and the EQS came fifth. But it did decent, It came just after the Plaid, just after the Ioniq 6, and a little bit after the Model 3. And I think that proves that, I think Mercedes-Benz navigation routing when it came to charging was excellent. And I think it's really optimized for people who are coming from an internal combustion engine Mercedes and don't want the inconvenience of having to schedule charging and figure out where charging stations are. It's really just jump in and go, and Mercedes will do the rest for you. But yeah, Mercedes-Benz now has access to the Tesla Supercharging network, so get used to seeing some Mercedes-Benz vehicles at the Tesla Supercharging network. I've seen just about every automaker so far. I've seen Polestar, Nissan. Of course, I drive a Rivian. I've used the North American charging standard, the Tesla Superchargers, GM and Ford. I've seen all of those use the Tesla Supercharger so far, so soon Mercedes as well. Mercedes does quite well for themselves in EV luxury sales, and so I think this is an EV that you'll probably see quite more often. But this is awesome, right? Another automaker not only adopting NACS later this year for select Mercedes-Benz models, but also getting access to the Tesla Supercharging network across their entire lineup with adapters. So, yep. And that pretty much sums up everything we know so far. As I said, this is just important that EVs have access to Tesla Supercharging network. Infrastructure is an important part of what sells an electric vehicle. Talking to many of the automaker representatives at IONA, because again, all of the representatives were there, really a lot of them relayed the importance of infrastructure. So many of these automakers are investing billions of dollars into EV factories and EV plants and all of the making EVs, but the infrastructure in place isn't really there. And if they want to invest in a factory, they got to make sure that the vehicles made in this factory sell. And how do they sell? Making sure that the infrastructure is in place. And that's where IONA has really stepped forward, and we're seeing across a ton of other CPOs, charge point operators across North America, start up and expand. And getting access to Tesla Supercharging network just means that Mercedes-Benz vehicles just got better. But yep, look, that really sums up this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Out of Spec podcast. My name is Isaiah, and I will see you guys in the next one.